wanted to talk about writing music, composing music, improv, and contrafacts. What is a contrafact? A contrafact is when you take a tune like Autumn Leaves. Anyways, you take a tune like that, which is simple chords. What you do is you take that 32 bars, you get a blank piece of paper, and you just compose over those chord changes. I don't care if it's straight eighth notes, quarter notes, it doesn't matter. Put pen to paper and compose something over those 32 bars. It's called a contrafact. So you take, Charlie Parker did them all the time. They would take tunes. Donna Lee is sort of a contrafact. So what they did was they took the chords from Sweet Home Alabama, Back Home in Indiana, and wrote this crazy melody over it. So what you can do is take a tune that you know, hopefully you have it memorized. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Have the chart there in front of you, have a blank piece of paper, and start to compose. And what'll happen, and I say do this a lot, do it to a bunch of different tunes, do it to the same tune a bunch of times. I've written probably 100 contrafacts over Autumn Leaves. Maybe not 100, but a lot of them. Maybe 100. And what will happen eventually, hopefully, is you will compose something that you would never improvise. You will compose something that may not occur to you when you're sitting there with your instrument. And this will help develop your ear too. This will help develop an internal ear for either composition or playing or improvising. I think all musicians should do this, especially if they're musically literate musicians. I wrote all musicians should do this, and I truly believe that. And if a contrafact doesn't suit you, just get a blank piece of paper and just compose. Just write something. Put dots on paper in artistic disarray, and you'll be surprised. I have a feeling you'll be surprised at the result. And if you don't read music, start improvising. Play the guitar. Have fun with it. Play around. Make up a song. It's super important to play the instrument. It doesn't matter if you are playing Bach, Mozart, you're still playing. So whether or not you're playing the World Cup or you're playing just a little league game, it doesn't matter, you're still playing. So the whole idea of playing music is to play music, to enjoy it. So that being said, the whole point of this video was to talk about writing contrafacts. So take a tune that you know, say All of Me is another good example. Great tune, really fun tune to improvise over. Chords are very easy. You have a lot of the chords are 2 bars per chord, so it gives you a lot of space to write something over. So you take those 32 bars and you begin to just compose over those 32 bars, pen to paper, don't touch your instrument, get all the way through those 32 bars, and then go back and play it. There's a good chance you will surprise yourself and you might write something very cool. It might be lame, but that's okay. That's when you do it again and you keep doing it. And you can just write chord tones, arpeggios, write passing tones, try to stick some notes that don't make sense in there, and it might be cool. I promise, you might write something cool. I feel like you could write something cool. You would probably write something cool. And I want to see more musicians doing this and just composing pen to paper the old-fashioned way, away from their instrument, away from distractions. There's so many distractions nowadays. So put everything away, sit there with blank piece of staff paper, and just compose. I wish I had one to show you. They're up here. I could grab you one and maybe play through it. But so that's kind of my whole point of the video. And also, it'll teach you you can even think of your instrument as you're playing or as you're composing. So think like, okay, well I know that, so maybe I could base something off a C major arpeggio. You know, and then when it goes to the E chord, you know, if you have enough experience improvising. So I think the next step, if you're not a musically literate musician, like you can't write or read music, dig into improvising. Dig into just playing a blues, playing over one chord, so you start to know some more shapes. I mean, even if it's just a pentatonic scale. Right? So, and if you can put that on paper, you know what it's going to sound like. You already know. I mean, you can do this. So, oh, we got vocalists, a lot of people. But anyways, I wanted to talk about contrafacts, writing over changes, and also just general composition. If you check out my channel, I've got a bunch of compositions. I will take questions from people that are writing in. That's cool too. For instance, I have a piano sonata. What's my favorite? Cemetery Gates. Favorite Pantera song? Come on, Cemetery Gates. Cemetery Gates. So yeah, you can check out, like, for instance, on my channel here, I have a piano sonata. I wrote that entire piano sonata without ever touching an instrument at all. All 4 movements were just pen to paper, thinking of notes, thinking of intervals and rhythm patterns, and just going, stream of consciousness, letting it happen. It's a practice that you can build up over years of doing it, but if things that are worthwhile are worth doing. So, and you start to internalize certain intervals. So for instance, I started this live stream by playing this. Right? So I know what that sounds like. I mean, it could be here, it could be, or, so that's just the A chord resolving to a D. Right? Or like I did. So there's a bunch of different ways I can resolve that chord. None of which I need a guitar to realize. I mean, if I see that C sharp on top, I know it's going up there. Now you could do more of a deceptive thing, and I can go, right, and there's a pretty resolution too. Or even something like going the other way. Yeah, I don't know. That was what I wanted to talk about, was contrafacts, composing. I think more of you should compose. Pick a tune, write over it. I know I'm being redundant now, but yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in. Not the most cohesive live stream ever, but hopefully some of you enjoyed it. I think there's 2 people left. Yeah, so take care. I'm going to do more. I'll take some questions if people have questions or anything like that. Anyways, have a good night, everybody. Have a good evening. See you next time. Take care, and I'll be back for more just musings. I like doing these live streams. So write contrafacts, compose. If you can't compose, improvise. That's all. That's my takeaway.